What a day. In hindsight, it all looks obvious, right? We should be selling when there's peak mania, when everybody is getting crazy about irrational things. And now it looks like when Donald Trump launched his own meme coin, the president of the United States, that might have been the peak. We are now faced with a massive crypto crash. Within a bit over a month, Bitcoin went from 108 to 88k, a drop of 18%. And interestingly enough, this is not a crash that is led by Bitcoin. It's actually the altcoins that are performing much, much worse. This is the Bitcoin dominance, and it continues to rise. So even during a crash like this, Bitcoin is losing less than the rest. Thus, Bitcoin as a fraction of all of crypto continues to go up. In the past, when the Bitcoin dominance was at around 70%, that's when we tended to see altcoin rallies. This time we did not have altcoin season. Yes, there was the launch of Trump, and yes, there was a lot of speculation on Solana with the meme coins and a lot of speculation on the base chain with AI agents. But overall, the altcoin market as a whole did not perform that well. And so just retrospectively, right, when we analyze this bull market that might now be over, who knows? There are still some voices that buy the dip. But when we just look at the DeFi summer in 2021 compared to the meme coin rally in 2024, so this is the total value locked on Solana, we saw that there was actually more capital on the Solana chain with this recent rally. However, when we look at Solana relative to Bitcoin, it did not get a new all-time high. Isn't it interesting? The high flyer of this bull run, which clearly was Solana, where we even got the president launching a meme coin on that chain, it still did not outperform BTC. From top to top, a loss of almost 30%. And now we're going back down. Are we going to hit those bottoms again? Nobody has a crystal ball, but it could be, in theory, an underperformance of Solana versus Bitcoin of 55%, maybe 62%, maybe even 65%. That's at least what the chart analysis might imply. And so really, it doesn't matter what altcoin we buy, right? There is high correlation within crypto. When Bitcoin is going down, when Ethereum is going down, then everything is going down. All of that research, all of that altcoin picking in the end for nothing. Let's have a look at the performance in the last 30 days. Bitcoin is at place 26. So there were 25 altcoins that did better than Bitcoin in the last month, but there are also 74 altcoins that did worse. How about in the last 60 days, so the last 2 months? Bitcoin here is at place 21. So there's 20 altcoins that did better and 79 altcoins that did worse. And in the last 90 days, Bitcoin is at place 29. So again, the vast majority of altcoins is doing worse than Bitcoin pretty much on any time scale. And what we also have to consider here is that those 28 altcoins that did better than BTC, some of them are simply just stable coins, right? There is DAI, USDC, USDT, FDUSD, PayPal USD, right? We can actually also remove all of those stable coins, and then it's even less altcoins that did better. I am talking about betting on falling altcoin prices regularly on this channel. I'm talking about this already for several weeks. Nobody wanted to listen, right? Most people still wanted to buy the altcoin that makes another 10 or 20x return, but it's very hard for this to happen when this is the environment we are playing with, right? This is the return today, but the return this month doesn't really look that different, right? Once you hold 3 or 4 altcoins, you're pretty much guaranteed to be in the negatives. Or you can also make the exact opposite case, right? Once you've got 3 or 4 short positions on altcoins, you're pretty much guaranteed to be in profit. And so this is where we currently are. This is the market value to realized value Z-score. So this looks at Bitcoin's gain, the average gain of the market relative to its volatility. And then we are in massive bull runs, we tend to be in this red area. We did not see that for the 100k mark. However, in the past, we also had a major bear market without hitting the red line. We went from 69k to 16k in Bitcoin, while the market value to realized value Z-score did not peak. It looks like it's comparable to what happened before the COVID crash. when Bitcoin went from 10K to below 5K. Now, I have been publishing bearish videos on Bitcoin for quite a while now. Once we hit the 90-something K, I said maybe it makes sense to take some profit. Feel free to check out the older videos on this channel. What's even more interesting is to look at the comments below those older videos, right? What did people think at the time? I might make a dedicated video on just that topic. I remember vividly how very often I got the comment that this time is different because of the Bitcoin ETF. So there's now Wall Street that is buying Bitcoin, and so there won't be any major bear markets anymore. But have a look at the Bitcoin ETF flows in the last few days. They were not positive, they tended to be negative. There seems to be some correlation between attention on crypto and the Bitcoin ETF flows. The Bitcoin ETF is simply just another vehicle to onboard investment. It's not necessarily immune to bear markets. When things turn bearish, then the Bitcoin ETF also tends to distribute. And then the big question is, when will this all be over? Does it make sense to simply just keep on holding now since we're already in the red? I'm not so certain. Have a look at the realized HODL ratio. So this looks at the trading activity of 1 week traders versus 1 to 2 year investors. So how much short-term trading is there currently in the market relative to long-term investing? And so when there's only long-term investments happening, that's when the realized HODL ratio is low, when there's no short-term trading, and that's when we want to buy, right? When the tourists are gone. It happened after the Mt. Gox and Silk Road collapse. It also happened after the ICO bubble burst, and it also happened after FTX and Terra Luna collapsed. Now, I do not know what's going to collapse over here, right? We don't know. We simply just see a deflating price. We simply see less interest. But what is clearly a structure, at least that's always what happened in the past, is when we came from the top, we went straight down to green. We did not come down just a little bit to then come back up again. Once we go down, we go down. And we're very far away from the green area, right? So there is more room to fall, in my opinion. Why did this bull run suddenly stop? I believe it's because long-term holders started to sell. Have a look at this here. This is the ETF flows and the long-term holder flows. The long-term holders sold a lot at around 73K for Bitcoin. Then they bought a lot again at around 58K. And then they sold again very close to 100K. I, by the way, did exactly those trades as well. I sold at 72K. I bought back in around this area. And then I also sold again close to 100K. But this current downturn seems to not be driven anymore by the long-term holders, right? The long-term holder selling pressure is waning. And another metric to illustrate this is the Bitcoin value days destroyed multiple. So this looks at how much are dormant Bitcoin getting moved. And when the big whales that tend to just hold Bitcoin start selling, that's when we also want to sell. And currently the VDD is not necessarily high. So it's not the long-term holders that are depressing the prices. What I believe is depressing the price is simply just less interest. Have a look at the search queries for Bitcoin. We got a nice spike when we got close to 100K. Now we are coming back to normal levels. And the issue is that a lot of people got burnt during this bull run. Again, because most altcoins did not outperform Bitcoin. Bitcoin pretty much got all of the gains, but a lot of retail investors aren't just buying Bitcoin, right? They feel like Bitcoin can't do enough return. Thus they take something that's more risk on, but then very often the odds are against those retail investors, right? If you don't know what you're doing, if you're not tracking wallets, if you're not using stop losses, etc., chances are 80 or 70% that you're doing worse than BTC. And so here's another metric of attention. Here's the number of views of this channel over time in the last year. It went up when a lot of people traded altcoins. Then we had a spike with the Trump meme coin launch. And now we are back to raise levels. And here's the number of subscribers. The number of subscribers tends to go down even quicker. In other words, there are no new people coming into the space. And this is not just my channel, right? It's other channels as well. This is, for example, Crypto Banter. Crypto Banter had almost 5 million views in December. Now they only have 3.5 million views. Have a look at this. This is Altcoin Daily. Again, 5 million views in December. and 3.3 or 3.4 million in the last 30 days, with the tendency to further go down. And so I've talked about this time and time again on this channel. I'm not going to repeat this in detail yet one more time, but I think that bear markets actually pose more opportunity than bull markets. In bull markets, we have to find the one altcoin that makes a 100x return, and that is very hard. But in bear markets, the odds are in our favor, right? Most altcoins do worse than Bitcoin, and especially when Bitcoin is going down, there's even a higher fraction of altcoins that underperform. Finding the right altcoin that goes up during a bull market is not that easy. We have to figure out what's happening on Twitter. We have to figure out what happens with different wallets. But finding out what comes down during a bear market is comparatively easy. We just have to look at tokenomics. We have to look at trends, and we've got, again, the odds in our favor. We can actually spread quite widely when we short. We can have 10 different short positions open. This is not something that we can do when we bet on rising prices, again, because returns are concentrated in a few winners. And so now you've got a decision to make, right? You can just ignore all the funds that you have put into crypto, not look at it anymore, and hope that in a few years it recovers. Or you can alternatively sell everything, panic sell it all, never look back to crypto. Or, and this is, I think, the best way, you can now bet on falling prices. The people that win in the market are the people that put in most effort. And I know that most people don't feel comfortable betting on falling prices. But again, I do think it's actually easier than winning from rising prices. Things just continue to collapse further and further, and there's no end in sight. So let's make money together by betting on falling prices. And so here is where I talk about this all in the premium membership. You can get access over here. Just sign up via credit card. It's $125 per month now. It's less than during the bull market because obviously a lot of people got hurt with that crash. But if you've still got a portfolio that's a few $1,000s worth, then probably you're going to get your money back fairly quickly with those strategies. There's also a 1-week money back guarantee. So in case you don't like premium, just message me within the first 7 days and I'll refund you 100%. There's really zero risk for you. Looking forward to seeing you again here in YouTube. Feel free to also give this video a like. It helps the channel grow. And of course, hope to also see you in premium. Cheers.